And I think some design direction has changed. Some institutional focus has changed.
Yeah.
You know, they're seemingly more thinking about the MDI and, you know, a lot of attention going towards those very competitive communities and very systems-driven players. What I think is funny is they've done all these things seemingly to keep those players happy and keep on playing the game, yet those seem to be the players that like those things the least. Which has always seemed a bit counterintuitive and weird to me. Whereas those players have always just been, oh, just piss off and let me raid. Like, I remember, I think it was Preach talking about enjoying WoD. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, or not, maybe not enjoying WoD, but I think it was just Mike talking about, like, yeah, it was cool. I went in, I raid logged. I'm a raider. That was the thing I wanted to do. Yeah. There were no barriers put in the way of my raiding, so I just enjoyed raids. And I can definitely say from my time in that expansion, more in the first half, God, I loved raiding in WoD. It was awesome. You know, it's like we had vaguely, you know, we had very reasonable, reasonable gear outside of you just getting a free bit of raid loot every week.
Oh yeah,
from your garrison. But it's like, surely the best way to keep the raiders happy is just to let them raid and not make them do anything else. Because the second you don't tie all of that stuff together, then you're free to just make content, put it in. You don't have to worry. I mean, why is the mob being designed around raiders getting sockets? Or raiders upgrading their conduits?
Yeah, it's almost like, and this is technically a food analogy, but it's always like what Blizzard were very good at doing during WoD and other times was they put the content out on a dish and left it at the back door, and the players would be like, all right, I'll have some of that. But now they're spending so much time trying to coax, like, it's a cat in this analogy, by the way, trying to coax the players in to, like, get the food, but they just haven't left the food out and let them actually have it.
Well, it's like a set menu, a really long set menu in a restaurant. But in order to unlock your main, you have to eat all of your appetizers. You might not like shellfish, but tough luck. To unlock your main, you've got to eat that shellfish starter. And in this case, the shellfish starter is raiders going to the Maw or raiders going to Torghast. You know, whereas that could be a delicious shellfish starter for somebody who would want a shellfish starter and is not forced to do it. Whereas now, for all the people who do love Torghast, well, unfortunately, Torghast has been shot in the face, knees, and feet by a bunch of people feeling bribed, basically, to go into it, and they haven't had a good experience. So now it's going to be harder for Blizzard employees to justify spending more time in Torghast, even though there's people like you and me who absolutely could love a version of Torghast. But every time I say that I think Torghast is awesome, potentially, that Horrific Visions are awesome. I loved Horrific Visions. I just get people in the comments being like, I'll never go into Torghast again. Never.
Yep.
And it's like, well, you know, my gut reaction is, that's stupid. Think about how good it could be. But then my extended reaction is, oh, wait, I have to think about that person's emotional experience.
Yeah.
They've obviously been burnt by this in a way that, you know, maybe they worked really hard. Yeah. They were really looking forward to their WoW time. And then they just, because they're a raider, they just got forced into doing a thing they didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And maybe they lost to some bullshit. An hour of their time went away. And now they're sad. Yeah. And it's that thing where I think Blizzard are so bizarrely willing to let you have a really bad experience. They're so good at making a disappointment loop. I mean, the Torghast stuff is obvious as compared to how almost any other company on Earth makes a roguelite experience. And Blizzard know that. They've mentioned it. Morgan mentioned it in his interview with me. It's like, why did it ship like that? It's all very bizarre. Yeah. And I just think that this has been a long segment.
For sure.
Which is to say that me and Matt have just been in the murky abyss as we've talked about this. And that it is such a murky abyss, I think surely means that it's a murky abyss to develop.
Yeah, I mean, that's... I really wish we didn't have to talk about all this stuff the way we do.
Yeah.
But we have to.
That's the thing. A lot of people, they see this as just hating for the sake of it. Yeah. I think it's easier to talk about issues. It's way more of a discussion.
Yeah.
Than it is just to be like, oh yeah,
that's cool.
Nathri is good.
Yeah.
I really don't want to be talking about this stuff at all, but it has to be talked about, and that's why, if you go to our clips channel, it looks the way it does. It's very begrudging.
Yeah, it's far from ideal. I think if I know, at least I know in my case, if I didn't think I could really love World of Warcraft, I would just be like, nah, done, see you later. But it lives entirely rent-free in my head at all times of day, because I'm constantly like, okay, what happened there? I mean, where could you go with Torghast? Every time I'm playing like any other game, like especially I've been playing a load of roguelites, and I'm just like, oh, where's this in Torghast? Where's all this stuff?
Yeah.
Please.
This will be a really fun clip. I take pride in being a bad raider. I will log into raid. I'll be like, yeah, guess what, Dakor? I still have an eye level 158 conduit, and I don't have a leveled up legendary, and I'm also multiple renown levels behind where I should be. I will say that with a big smile on my face. And the reason is, I can play my class well enough that I can still easily produce the numbers that I need to in raid to be, a well-performing member of the team. And I basically take pride in saying no to those things and only playing the bits of World of Warcraft that I enjoy. Because at this stage, I'm just too damn old to waste my time doing that stuff. And any time that I can do that and have Dakor sigh at me in the very comedic, disappointed way that he sighs, that really does put a big smile on my face. And it's purely because I'm sitting there knowing that all of these, these people I'm talking to, they've complained to me about feeling like they have to do these things. And then I'm just like, all right, well, I was near the top of the meters. I didn't do any of that shit, and I just had a great time. So, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good right now.
You bellend.
Right? Yeah, it's totally a dickheadish thing. But it's like, that's been my response. I'm not gonna ruin the game for myself. Even if the developers incentivize me to ruin the game for myself. I'm just gonna be like, yeah, developers, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to raid. I'm going to raid log. And I don't care what else you put in the game, as long as I can get an above 50 percentile parse, we're all good.
Nice one.
And that's that, Focus. There was a tweet by this guy, Traff, I think is his name.
Yes, I know.
He's the guy, if you watch Marquez Brownlee, he did that icon pack that I think Marquez had in one of his videos, showcased, and the guy made so much sales. Just a simple tweet. He said, output does not equal time.
I believe it was ours equal sign the line through it. I put.
Yes, so ours does not equal output. Yep. And I really try to apply that principle. And when I apply that principle to World of Warcraft, it's like, what I want is output. The output that I want is a fun social gaming experience. And I can optimize for that. And I optimize for that by raid logging and being okay to take a few losses in terms of my character's optimization, because I'm not willing to ruin the game for myself just to get a few more DPS. And I think that is a tough thing for Blizzard, because they have consistently created incentives for people to ruin the game for themselves in order to get a few more DPS. And that is rough.
Yeah.
Benthic lottery, island grinding, artifact power grinding, etc., etc., etc. Stygia grinding.
Yeah, it's like my experience with Legion was very, very positive unanimously, but I'm not sure if my launch experience would have felt anywhere near the same had I not so much free time when I started playing that. I had obviously I was 12, 16 hours a day for a while at the launch of Legion, and I really enjoyed it. But thinking back, if I had 3 or 4 hours a day, I probably would have utterly despised it.
Really?
Yeah, but because I'm thinking about it, I am absolutely the sort of player that will, not for the sake of DPS, but for the sake of wanting to play World of Warcraft, I will ruin the entire experience myself. Because I spend so much time logging in and just screaming internally, why is there nothing I want to do this is so frustrating. I really badly want to play this game. I love just running around and hitting buttons, especially on a couple of melee classes that feel good. I was like, please let me play the game. I really want to, but I log in and I'm like, there's nothing that feels even vaguely meaningful. Please let me waste all of my available time here, please.
Well, as Blackbeard says in chat, existence is pain. Oh boy, Blackbeard, that is a hardcore comment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, David has just said here that WoW has become a single-player game that you can play with others if you choose to. It's like there's an issue there with, you know, your LFGs,
yes,
and all of that stuff. I actually think that WoW being a single-player game is totally okay, as long as that stuff does not, you know, really ruin the social experience or create incentives away from playing WoW in a fixed social community, because as soon as you're playing with a community, then you have lots of long-term incentives that are playing upon you as a person, right? So you can't just be, well, like any of the people who end up in r/WoW being roasted for being absolute dickheads in Mythic Plus dungeons. The way to solve that problem is not to create anti-toxicity chat filters or, you know, robust banning and reporting systems. Those are all perfectly fine things to do if you want to, but the way to do that is entirely by, you know, incentives. And you want to incentivize people to play together where there's actually long-term stakes. So that's what that comment made me think about.